Is this your shortest fight ever?
I don't know, man. Yeah, Lennox Lewis, I'm coming for you.
Is it frustrating to train like you did and then have this as 7 or 8 seconds?
For this fight, I only trained probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks for this fight. I had to bury my best friend, dedicate this fight to him. I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever.
After making easy work of Lou Savarese in the first round, Iron Mike Tyson was set to take on Lennox Lewis for what would be the best-selling fight of his career. He was expected to cut an epic promo, as it is termed in the fight business. Basically, to give a promotional interview that builds up interest for a prospective fight. And he did.
I'm the most brutal, most vicious, and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lennox is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
One of the most epic and memorable diatribes of his career. But this time, he felt it was important enough to open by dedicating the speech to a deceased friend.
Mike, was that your shortest fight ever?
I bear witness there's only one God, and Muhammad, blessings and peace be upon him, is his prophet. I dedicate this fight to my brother, Daryl Baum, who died.
Daryl Hommo Baum, one-time bodyguard to Mike Tyson, and the man who almost killed Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. In the few exciting months after his decade-long prison bid, Hommo was a bodyguard to the most dangerous man on earth, almost changed the course of hip-hop history, and became a casualty in a gang war that wiped out his whole crew. This is his story. Daryl Hommo, or Homicide Baum, was a notorious and feared gangster from the Lafayette Gardens projects in Brooklyn. The nickname didn't stem from his proficiency in killing, but rather from his reputation for knocking people out with one punch and then robbing them as a teen. But Hommo was also about 5'7" tall and walked with a limp. So how exactly did he become bodyguard to Iron Mike? Hommo and Mike met in juvie at some point during Mike's troubled youth. They took different paths in life, with Mike rising to heavyweight boxing champ status, and Hommo spending most of the 90s in prison on a robbery conviction. Hommo got out on New Year's Eve in 1999. Tyson knew that his friend would have a hard time transitioning back to society, so, in an attempt to lure Hommo away from the streets, he reportedly gave him a car, cash, a Rolex, and a job as his bodyguard. But rumor has it that Hommo had an issue taking handouts and wanted to make his own money. Shortly after his release, Hommo teamed up with the street gang known as the Peanut Crew and got involved with Kenneth Supreme McGriff as well, a drug kingpin from South Jamaica, Queens. But now, Hommo was 34 and the streets were crawling with younger, hungrier gangsters. But despite this, Hommo immediately made his presence felt and started pressuring dealers to sell drugs for him. Hommo didn't have a place to stay, so he was also allegedly living in Mike's mansion in Connecticut at the time. The same Connecticut mansion that the man he tried to murder would later buy from Mike Tyson. But before we dive into the story of Daryl Baum, let us take a moment to talk about something crucial for your online safety: Aura. In a world where anonymity is everything, Aura is your shield against cyber threats. With military-grade encryption and servers worldwide, Aura ensures your online activities remain private and secure. Whether you're shopping, streaming, or just browsing the web, Aura masks your IP address, keeping you off the radar of prying eyes. Just imagine the horror of having your personal information stolen by cybercriminals. Aura lets you surf the web with peace of mind, knowing that your data is protected. Aura offers lightning-fast speeds and easy-to-use applications for all your devices. Whether you're at home or on the go, Aura keeps you connected securely. Stay one step ahead of cyber threats and protect your online identity with Aura. Go to aura.com/19xx or click the link in the description below to start your free trial today. Before 50 Cent became the biggest name in rap in the mid-2000s, he made his bones in the streets of South Jamaica, Queens. After a tumultuous adolescence as a drug dealer, boxer and juvenile convict 50 settled on rap as his way out of the ghetto. Before he blew up in the mainstream, 50 Cent was a hot New York rap act in direct competition with Ja Rule, another Queens native signed to Murder Inc. Records. Aside from being a record label, Murder Inc. was a money laundering operation for Supreme McGriff and was run by brothers Chris and Irv Gotti, both of whom had known McGriff since 1994. At the time, 50 Cent had an ongoing feud with Ja Rule, Murder Inc.'s cash cow artist. The feud would feature chain snatching, brawls, and 50 Cent even being stabbed on one occasion. Supreme stepped in and made multiple attempts at persuading 50 to make peace with Ja Rule, but failed. Ultimately, 50 was messing with Preem's money, and that couldn't stand. So he issued a $25,000 hit on 50's life. A common misconception is that the hit had to do with the release of the track Ghetto Quran, where 50 Cent exposed the street dealings of local crime bosses like Supreme and Gerald Prince Miller. But that can't be the case, because everything in the song was already public information. The song was a tribute rather than a diss, and Supreme even knew about the song and the lyrics before it was released. On May 24th, 2000, 50 left his grandmother's house with his son in the house and his grandmother in the front yard. 50 got in the back seat of the car when another car pulled up nearby. An assailant walked up to the window and fired 9 shots with a 9mm pistol. 50 was shot in the hand, arm, hip, both legs, chest, and left cheek. A few inches higher, and none of this would have happened. Miraculously, 50 pulled through after 3 weeks in the hospital, and his survival is one of the most revered stories in rap folklore. 3 years later, the track Many Men would reveal Hommo as the shooter, but Hommo was long dead by then, and not by 50's doing or blessing. Hommo was murdered 3 weeks after 50's shooting, but despite the coincidental timing, the two incidents were unrelated. At the time of his murder, Hommo was a member of the Peanuts gang, a gang being run by a man named Ivory Peanut Davis and James J.R. Hamilton. A year prior, in June of 1999, Myron Wise Hardy was killed in the Lafayette Gardens housing project. It would emerge that the murder was over a turf war between drug gangs. The deceased Myron belonged to a crew known as the Cash Money Brothers, formed in 1991. A crew that rolled about 15 deep and was headed by Myron and his incarcerated brother Damian World Hardy. CMB had a grip on the crack trade at Bed-Stuy's Lafayette Gardens projects, a community of 2,680 residents in 7 buildings at least 13 stories tall each. Damian had previously shown signs of being homicidal in the 90s. In 1998, he was thrown out of a Brooklyn roller skating rink by bouncer Michael Collin. In retaliation, he had Collin murdered by another CMB member. Damian was in prison when he got the news of his brother's murder. He was furious and swore vengeance on the entire Peanut crew. That meant Hommo too. Even though Hommo was in prison when the murder took place, it didn't help that the alleged shooter was Peanut Davis's nephew, Rumel Davis. It would be a bloody summer for the Peanut crew. Damian ordered his enforcer, Aaron E. Bay Granton, to take out Peanut and his whole crew. The killing spree started when CMB member Dwayne Thor Myers murdered Gerard Kojak Mackins at 456 Lafayette Street, in the vestibule of the same building that Myron Hardy was killed in. Mackins, a member of the Peanut crew, was suspected of having supplied Rummel Davis with the gun used to kill Hardy. Next, at around 2 a.m. on June 10, 2000, Hommo was lured to the corner of Quincy Street and Marcy Avenue by a woman. As he sat in his car waiting, eBay suddenly appeared at the driver's seat window. One shot to the back of the head ended Hommo's brief return to Brooklyn streets. Mike Tyson would later pay for all of his funeral expenses. On August 1st, Junior Hamilton was shot inside Filet of Soul, a seafood restaurant he owned. At about 4 a.m. on August 10th, eBay caught up to Peanut Davis at Club NV in New York's Soho district. eBay would shoot him twice in the back as he sat in his Range Rover. In a panic and fatally wounded Davis hit the gas and fled the scene. Moments later, he accidentally hit 38-year-old award-winning Swedish filmmaker Johan Kamitz, who was walking on the sidewalk, director of The Wannabe and Save Tonight music videos. After hitting Kamitz, the SUV jumped the curb and flipped over on its side after crashing into a traffic pole. Kamitz died after being rushed to the hospital, while Davis was pronounced dead at the scene of the crash. CMB wasn't done yet. In 2002, Baum's older brother, Tyrone T-Rock Baum, was released from prison. However, he made the mistake of announcing his plans to avenge his dead brother. When CMB members learned of T-Rock's intentions, they ambushed him by a construction site and shot him 3 times in the head. As for Damian, he would go on to date Little Kim in 2002, and they were once engaged. Ironically, Damien's slain enemy, Peanut Davis, has appeared as Lil' Kim's love interest in the music video for the hit 1995 song Get Money by her group Junior Mafia. Lil' Kim also previously dated Myron Hardy as well, and she also alleged that during the relationship, Myron broke her nose, causing her to get the plastic surgery that she is known for today. In September of 2003, Hardy was involved in a shootout with members of 50 Cent's security team outside of a New Jersey DoubleTree hotel. The beef reportedly stemmed from an incident earlier that year when Hardy confronted 50 Cent about a diss towards Lil' Kim during an interview on New York's Hot 97 radio station. In April 2005, the Daily News reported that Damien World Hardy had wanted to kill Mike Tyson over a $50,000 bounty placed by Mike Tyson over his friend's killing. CMB members allegedly surveilled Tyson and even once located him in a Range Rover in Brooklyn's Crown Heights neighborhood, but couldn't follow through with the hit because Tyson, like one of them, was a Muslim.
I just get emotional talking about God. When I'm with somebody who really, truly love God on the level that I love him and understand him on the level that I love him, I feel that way about him. So, most times we could talk about God and you could vibe with someone when they're really not there, so you just go through the motion for your own salvation.
Tyson was never charged for the alleged murder for hire plot either. World Hardy remained a free man until 2015, when he was found guilty of ordering 6 murders. He is now serving life without parole. His enforcer, Aaron E. Bay Granton, was also given 6 terms of life imprisonment. To most people, living off your multi-millionaire superstar friend would seem like an easy choice, but it would appear that Daryl Hommo Baum had simply just missed the game too much, missed it enough to risk his life.